I want to take the opportunity to wish you and your family a happy new year and share some thoughts. As we move into the new year, I think it's important to reflect on the events that affected all of us over the past 2 or so years and begin to ask ourselves some very important questions that will help us prepare for the events that are inevitably headed our way, as not doing so will put us at a great disadvantage. The world has changed in many ways. It appears as if climate change is spilling into absolutely everything, including mobility, money, logistics, medicine, and much more. We are being forced to comply with the strategies that are essentially beneficial for the environment, as people are apparently quite bad at changing habits. We have been warned, nudged, and in other ways scared into acting in certain ways, but it is clear that scare tactics don't work. What now? It seems that one of the primary pillars of climate change is mobility, and how governments are reducing our ability to move about freely by imposing restrictions and similar. While the benefits have been minimal, the consequences of such restrictions have been enormous, and people everywhere suffered. Extreme examples we can see in China, where people are literally being welded into their apartment buildings to force compliance. What are the consequences of this? Starvation, poor mental health, and much, much more. Why does any of this matter? We have to think differently. We are forced to, as life will never go back to the way it was prior to early 2020. Our governments are not our friends, and it's time everyone took responsibility for themselves and their well-being. I think one of the heavy hitters is how we sustain ourselves financially. As the price of energy and consumer goods continues to increase, how can we continue to sustain the same quality of life as we did prior to early 2020? If we have unlimited wealth, then nothing really changes. But if this is not the case, the only answer is that we don't. All we can do is consume less, eat less, travel less, buy less, sell less, as there are fewer buyers for our stuff, own less, as we may be forced to sell some of our things. Essentially, do everything less than before. No matter what you believe, you need to come to terms with the fact that everything has changed for good. If you are in denial and you think that everything will go back to normal, then you are in for a very rude awakening. If, however, you are agile, awake, and an independent thinker, then you will be able to see opportunity everywhere, but not in the same way as before early 2020. For any number of reasons, we may have to learn new skills in order to earn a living. During this time, it is crucial that we choose an area that is not ruled by ever-changing consumer habits, as such changes can stop the flow of income moving towards us. Instead, choose an area that is not affected by other people's spending habits, such as capital markets. Financial markets are always moving, and there is earning potential not only during positive times, buying, but also during recessions, selling, as the markets can also be sold when negative cycles inevitably begin. Remember also that we don't have to do things the way we always have done in the past, especially when we discover what our most valuable commodities are, our true value. What are the most valuable commodities we all have? I would argue that we have two, namely our attention and our time. Social media companies fight relentlessly for our attention so that they can try and sell us stuff we don't need. Consumer products, pills, strange food, odd habits and practices, apps, devices, and much, much more. We need to remind ourselves that it is our responsibility to place our attention on things of our choosing, instead of letting it get hijacked by social media companies such as Instagram, Google, TikTok, Facebook, to name a few, as well as all the other mindless distractions available out there. Your attention is valuable and it is yours, so use it responsibly on something that will enable you to provide value for you and your family. Learn something new that will empower you to think differently. Consume less, as doing so is cheaper than consuming more. Rid yourself of things you don't need and stop feeding your ego by buying things that provide validation from peers. Make a conscious choice to take control of your mind, and remember one very important possibility. If everyone else is doing the same thing, perhaps you should do something different. Our unique personal power. You are unique, and your uniqueness will enable you to perceive things uniquely, differently, like nobody else. If you decided to focus your attention on trading, for example, so that you could stop selling your time to the highest bidder, remember that your uniqueness will enable you to learn it differently. Don't attempt to copy others. Instead, learn how to be an independent thinker. Doing so will teach you to believe in yourself, as thinking independently builds courage. Immerse yourself in the subject matter and learn everything you can. Then take time to reflect. Allow new learnings and information to build fresh neural pathways via associations with existing knowledge, experiences, emotions, and memories you have. And allow your process to solidify by practicing it over and over again. Focus on the specific price patterns our software displays on your charts, or we discuss in symposiums, and allow your intuition to speak to you. Listen carefully though, as the voice of the beginner's intuition is quiet. Over time, however, the voice will get stronger and louder, and one day you will hear it loud and clear, and you will know exactly what to do. Pipnotic is here, and we are ready to help you begin your new journey in 2023. We have helped thousands of people around the world reach their personal and professional financial goals by empowering them with the tools and the education necessary to take bold steps towards their goals with confidence. Make this year count.